Yeah, bitch.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are now listening to the Talking Nonsense About Impact Wrestling podcast. Cross the line in 3, 2, 1.
What is good, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Talking Nonsense About Impact Wrestling podcast. My name is Geoff. Episode 141. Quick turnaround. We're here for Against All Odds review, and I am not alone. I have the Abyss to my Alex Shelley, my Johnny Devine to my Alex Shelley. It's Lucha, everyone. Told you it wasn't special. It just popped me. The Chris Sabin to my Alex Shelley. There you go.
I love the Abyss Alex Shelley one because I had to think. I was like, the fuck? And I was like, oh,
Baby
yeah.
Bear.
Baby Bear.
Baby Bear. From Baby Bear
Gotta love Goldilocks.
to World Champion. Shout, yeah, all the love to Goldilocks. But what's going on, our Impact Wrestling fam? I'm sure it will light up in the chat. Maybe not. I didn't put anything out. I'm sure Io did, but either way, we'll have a good time talking about it. We got Against All Odds. We're going to give it our grades after we talk about it in depth, including the decision to make Alex Shelley the champion, which we'll see how we both feel. And what that means for Slammiversary, because we're going to be telling our three, we didn't talk about it prior, but both of our three wishes for Slammiversary, just wish list, crazy wish list, and then we'll try to book it and predict what it's gonna play out to be. And then we'll be back here July 16th for Slammiversary review. It's on a Saturday. Millard, I see you on there already. What's going on, buddy? Hey, RK Shuttlesworth. Howdy. Well, I pay attention to notifications sometimes. Yeah, good for you. We appreciate it. We appreciate it. But yeah, Lucha, let's plug the shows quick and let's get then into Against All Odds. Of course, you are here right now, and then you will be on Tuesday's Go-Go Power Rankings back here on the TNAIW channel, 7 p.m. Eastern. We'll get back to that. And as we were just talking about, we're bringing back TNA 2K, of course. We're going to do the Knockouts tournament next, just kind of figuring out the brackets. Let us know what you guys think or want. But yeah, some exciting stuff ahead, and we're heading into Slammiversary. Your initial thoughts post Against All Odds. Not details, just your... How do you feel, Lucha?
Initial thoughts post Against All Odds. TNA, 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 TNA.
You know, man, I know we're homers for it, and there's going to be a lot that we're going to preach throughout the night that I think really will happen finally, that we've been talking about for way too long. But I know we talked about it after the Scott D'Amore spot with the flaming table. But are those Impact Wrestling chants? They don't hit like a TNA chant, man. They don't hit.
Here's the experiment for you, Geoff, and for anyone watching.
All right,
go and watch the post Hard to Kill tapings from January in Atlanta. And you saw when shit happened, we were ripping those TNA chants off, and you saw how hyped they loved it. Like Tom Phillips, wow. Tom Hannafan even put it over. You know, when we hit a TNA chant, and he's like, "Total nonstop action."
There's just there's something behind it.
Exactly, it gets you hype. You know what I'm saying? The Impact Wrestling chant, in my eye, is just it's too wordy. It's too syllably.
It doesn't feel like it's from here. It's like from here, not from here. And you know what's funny is, look, I'll love Impact Wrestling. I said this before and I'll say it again. It's the Charlotte Bobcats, still cool, still awesome, but it's not the Charlotte Hornets. And that's all it means. That's all it is. And I think a lot of people will say, oh, but this and that. Man, non-playable characters. 8 Mile that shit. Let's get back to TNA. That's what I'm going to say for Slammiversary. But that's not my wishes. We'll save that for later, and we'll also book it. Let's get right into Against All Odds, man, because let's see how we got those TNA chants from you. Let's start with you saw the countdown as well?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's start with that. Kilynn King defeating, with the King's Curse. I got the finishers. Defeating the return of Nevaeh, man. Cool to see Nevaeh back. Made sense being in Ohio and Jake being back as well. Taylor Wilde would come in with Kilynn King. But Kilynn King getting another victory here, man, on solo action. Your thoughts on the Coven? Are they over with you as they are with me?
I'm fucking with them. And I'm really digging Kilynn, as a prospect, to be, once she's on her own, like there's something really there with her. I feel like
special. There's something definitely next level. But right now and where they're at, and I think we can expand on that when we get to the Masha and Kelly match, maybe. But I think there's going to be a showcase of knockouts tags at Slammiversary, and I'm excited to see it. Well, if it happens, but.
And I will throw this last bit on too, as far as Nevaeh. She looked all right. Coming back into Impact, her theme song is way more tolerable when there's an actual crowd.
Okay.
So I don't have to hear it as much. You know what I'm saying? Like the crowd can like drown it out. I hate her theme song with a passion.
Wait, whose?
Nevaeh.
Oh, this one. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
It's the same one from before. It's like it sounded a little bit better because there's a crowd to help drown it out. It was like, yeah.
Just real quick to catch up on the chat, lighten up. Thank you guys. Good to see you as always. RK Shuttlesworth saying I would just chant Impact. Don't they already do that? Don't they do that anyways? I mean, yeah, some. That's true, but I don't know. Maybe we're just homers. But you'll see that as we get to Slammiversary, you're not going to stop the bias train when it comes to TNA for us.
Facts.
But yeah, good way to open it. We're going to finish this off. Santino's going to come ringside to commentary. We're going to get our Digital Media Championship match here. DMT, DMC, whatever you want to call it. But before that, of course, we're going to get our, what are they called? Bites?
The Fight Bites.
Fight Bites. Love it. This isn't where I want the title to be. I'll talk about it in the next match. I mentioned that on Reaction as well. But I still love it around Hendry's waist. He looks great. He's getting in the comedy still. Here he's doing Divas Reject again, which seemed to pop the crowd. And it popped the crowd because when his music stopped, you could there was like a "oh" in the crowd. There was
okay. I peeped it.
So I said, "Okay, damn man," because these people wanted to do the We Believe sway.
They cut it like right at the clap.
Right. It was perfect. And they toyed with them. They gave him this, and this got over, which is nice. Another hit single, Io saying from Hendry. But he's going to pick up the win against someone I'm loving, the Gratitude Era's own Dirty Dango, who I said this to you before, and I'm going to keep preaching. We all know it, man. The gimmick he was in is it's funny. It hits for whoever it hits for. It hits for me. But to be taken seriously or to be that next step, he needed to have a change. And I like it, man. We talked about this briefly, but are you digging what he's putting down these past two promos?
Yeah, and that's why it sucked for me that he lost, because I was like, okay, he's got this cool gimmick, you know what I'm saying? Let's put the DMC on him and let him do some shit. We can hot potato it. I don't really care. It's the DMC belt, but like let him get it for like a loop or two, you know what I'm saying? That's what I was hoping for.
Damn, I didn't think you were there yet. I'm surprised you even wanted him like in the realm of the DMC, but yeah, that's awesome, man.
DMC's the perfect spot for him. Even though I do remember like they were really trying to put over, like before he was Fandango, like Johnny Curtis era, they're trying to put over that this man can go. So like seeing him in the X division won't be that bad either down the line.
I like that as well, man, because I think there's a lot he could do, kind of like besides actually go in the ring. And no offense to Kevin Nash, but when Kevin Nash had that stay with the Impact, like, he wasn't made for the X division, but it told story and he could tell story, and then this guy can go. And that's the thing with him is he has the look, he has the speak. I was gonna say the speak. He could talk. I can't talk. He could talk. And
he's good at the words.
He's got the words that come out and speak English. But he also, man, when that bell rings, between those bells, he's a killer, man, and I love watching him work. He loses here, yes, with the standing ovation. Joe Hendry retaining the title. But I'm going to skip right to the first match of the main card, if you will, because this is where I was mentioning that this is kind of where I want that DMC to be. I get when it's maybe where it just was its TV title, but I really think it could be Intercontinental. And to get there, you have to have these Frankie versus Eddie's, those guys on the cusp that can do battle back and forth. They have some meat on the bones as far as the title feud, and then elevate it. Once again, Hendry, great run. The next evolution of what the DMC has been, and then, we'll see where it goes next. But I would like it to go here. Regardless, second pay-per-view, if you want to call it that. We're starting off with TNAIWs. Last one was Kenny versus Aldis. This is Kazarian versus Eddie. Instead of X Division, we're starting with familiar faces. Do you like this approach?
I mean, my thing is with the Impact pay-per-views and like plus specials or whatever, that first match has to be the tone setter.
Fair.
For the rest of the show. That's how you're going to get a good one. Because, I just hear Mike Tenay, we're going to kick things off with the X Division. Right. You know what I'm saying? So it held up because it's Eddie and Kazarian, and you're not going to get a bad one out of those two. No. So I was cool with this opening. I'm kind of with you, though. If you put the DMC involved between them two, that could be something interesting. You imagine Frankie, Eddie, and Joe Hendry triple threat.
Yeah, I mean, and there we go, man. And that I see Dobby the Brain Heenan. Hey, what's up?
Dobby the Brain Heenan.
If you give it to Frankie and Eddie feuding over the DMC, title is elevated immediately. Yeah, I think they said it's going to take time to build credibility, and I thought champion after champion they've done that, and Hendry's only done that even further. But I think that's the next step, the next step here. And the Killer Kowalski students, I see you there, Io. But yeah, I think this could be something they could feud over. I don't think you need to cash it in per se, like the X Division. But I think it could be the other path for guys. Maybe you're not made for the X Division, but you're a workhorse and you're on the path to being world champion. The DMC is the way to go. So I think that's where we can say, because look, the X Division lineage, and they talk about it extensively lately, is too good to it is what it is. You're not going to catch up to that level, but you don't always have to go that way, I don't think. I'm still, and I always say this, in my eyes, the X Division title is the title in Impact. It's X Division, then the world. So if anything, it's if anything, in my eyes, Option C is a step down. You know what I'm saying? Based off of the legacy and how I view it as far as the hierarchy. And I agree with you. It's always been the breadwinner until Angle took over. But in kayfabe, it can't be. And between us talking the shit and talking real life, yeah, you're right. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, kayfabe, it is what it is. But I want to talk about this.
It's a work, brother.
We're going to be talking about. We're going to talk about Slammiversary later, but we're going to have hints to what could be, and I think this is what's going to happen here. I think we're going to get Tracy and Frankie at Slammiversary against the Edwards and you can see Lish's interference really didn't play a part because she was thrown out, but we have a few weeks to build up. Maybe they get the upper hand for a few weeks. I would like to see, and maybe she doesn't want to come out of retirement or whatever, but it would be cool as hell. It makes a lot of sense. Your thoughts on that possible matchup?
I'm actually fucking with that. I'm cool with that. That wasn't even a thing I thought of. But if Tracy's not willing to come out of retirement or whatever, and she's cool with what she's doing, then I guess they kind of owe us one with matches involving significant others that make no sense. So remember the Stand By Your Man match when it's fucking Booker T. Who was it? Booker and Tracy. It's not her man.
Yeah, I remember. Who were they? That was 2000.
Bobby Roode and
Peyton Banks.
Yeah.
Wow, man. I think I was there for that match. See if that's in Norfolk, anyone. Where's our guy Critical Sting?
So then we just need a ride or die match to where it's not Tracy.
Yeah.
Jody Threat.
It's possible. We'll see because
there's shit with them.
That's true, but I think with it being Slammiversary, that's the only reason I had that I had that inkling. But we'll see. Either way, love this match here, man. Two veterans of Impact. And it's great to see, looking back, like if you look at the history of the Slammiversary posters, how some of these cats that are going to be featured in the one coming up, 2023, are still on it, man. That day did not seem like it was going to happen 5 years ago, let alone 10. You know what I mean? Like, we've come a long way to be a place for these people to come back to and call it home again. So, pretty cool there, man.
Come back to be a like a thing, like a moment.
Right. And we'll talk about that big moment later. But yeah, Tiger Driver into a pin. Frankie picking up the win here. No harm, no foul. Love to see these guys feud back and forth. Next up, we're going to keep the action going. We're going right into the tag and taglines. ABC defeating Good Hands, Cutter, and the Fold combo. Brian Myers eyeing me with the Good Hands. Skylar's still getting the mic after Myers gets the mic. It's a little weird, but they both can talk, so I get it. Wearing the Carolina blue, but picking up the L. Your thoughts on, obviously, we both love ABC and where that's going and their continue. I don't want to put anything in it because we need to build this tag division, but I can't wait for the day one of them turns on each other. It's going to be such good stuff. And then the Good Hands, man, they're getting their comeuppance, who I compared on Reaction recently to the Naturals, kind of. They have that vibe to them.
That's why I love you, Geoff.
We're there?
That's why I love you.
Cool, man. Well, your thoughts on the Good Hands and what they're doing and how they're slowly building, especially with Myers getting the, that's kind of a rocket pack, though, and ABC. You see them rocking with it for a while?
Honestly, I wouldn't have been surprised if the Good Hands won on Friday. I would not have been surprised or mad because of that whole thing, like with their new age, the Naturals, like, and Brian Myers being their Candido. Yeah. In a sense. Yeah. So
that's funny, man. That's funny. Yeah, that's exactly where I was at, and I said that, I was watching my cousin, and I was telling him, I was like, I actually don't mind if these Good Hands win. I don't want ABC to break up yet. Let's wait till there's.
They could have hot potatoed, and I would have been fine.
But yeah, I could,
because that's what the Naturals did. The Naturals title run was off some shit.
Yeah, and I think the good thing here is, and I'm nothing against the Naturals, but both these guys in the Good Hands have the possibility, once they have that, win and then the feud, then breakup, which is inevitable, to both do their own thing as well. Hotch's, dude is, and you can see that match is just a star waiting to break out. So, I love what's going on here, and I'm with you. I think it was a great match, and it didn't feel like, even though in our eyes maybe ABC is ABC, this felt even. This felt like everyone handled their shit, man. And really dug this. So hopefully more from them. I think, I don't know if the Good Hands are part of it, but I know you think the tag titles, and I know we'll be alluding to it later, but where do you think ABC's next challenge comes from?
We'll get to that part of the show later on.
Okay. All right, we'll save it. A lot of good stuff in the chat, guys. I see, was a huge Naturals fan. Hey! Dobby the Brain Heenan with some good stuff there. Knowing Myers, ECW love, wouldn't be shocked if he was thinking about the Candido Douglas manager type role with them. I know, right? Both managed.
He can go from their Candido to their Shane Douglas, where he starts to like imagine the learning tree segments, but a little more franchise Naturals like.
Hopefully, he doesn't puke in the ring.
Hey, bro.
It happens. It happens. But we'll talk about that. We'll save it. But on the flip side, we're going to talk about something that I think comes to play when it comes to tag teams. Because the next match is a dog collar match between Masha and Killer Kelly. This has been full of, I said it on the other show, it's been full of just violence, vengeance, and a little bit of kink, man. This shit has been good. And it's come out of nowhere, but these are two people that were kind of, for one reason or another, injuries, doing other things, whatever it may be, booking at the time had changed, floundering in some ways, but both shining. Now they're having a little feud here that's went all over everywhere, and it seems they've earned each other's respect. Masha picking up the victory after the snowplow, but Shay picking her up at the end. I know we talked about the idea of Jody with Masha or Jody with Killer Kelly, but is there a future for Killer Kelly and Masha Slamovich?
If there is, I feel sorry for anyone who lives in that future.
we haven't had a pairing like that in the Knockouts division yet. Knockouts tag. Like, two brutal, I'm going to kill, you know what I mean? Like, Masha's going to kill you kind of.
It's crazy that if we're going down this route and we, you know, get Kelly and Masha versus Coven for the tag titles and Kelly and Masha wins, it'd be crazy. We got that happening in Impact, and then Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler, pretty much the WWE version of that same mentality of just women just running through everybody.
Now, we talked about it before. We were on the same page that we haven't had anything like this. If they are a pairing, we've had some really good stuff that popped off 1-2. We got a third, then the one would leave. So we haven't had some steady pace here. But now we have the Coven, who I think's hitting all cylinders, and is a dark magic, whatever they're doing. You got the Death Dolls doing their punk rock / dark stuff too, but you know it's more fun now. They could be the third, with Trinity and Deonna already being set for Slammiversary and Impact always wanting to showcase the knockouts. I can see a multi-team, four-team title defense. Coven, Masha and Killer Kelly, Gisele and Savannah, because you got to get everyone on there, and then Death Dolls.
This isn't one of my my 3 wishes for Slammiversary, but fuck it. Let's do a knockouts tag Queen of the Mountain on the countdown.
On the
countdown. Fuck it.
Buy the pay-per-view.
Buy that shit.
Why not? Why not, man? You know, but it just seems like I'm trying to think about it when we talk about it later, as if I'm Impact and you know Slammiversary is one of the people that aren't on the regular buy and kind of paint. You want to put all your showcase everything there, and if you have a knockouts roster like we do, you want to showcase them somehow, and a multi-woman whatever would be a good idea. But your thoughts on the match too, because I want to hit on that and not just pass over it.
Wait, well,
dog collar match.
We went so many. Okay, I'm gonna say this and try to be as respectful. It's like I'm not trying to shit on the match. The match was cool. Like I liked the match. Yeah. It was a little tame for me.
Okay.
In the sense of I kind of expected like somebody to bleed. Yeah. With it being a dog collar between the Russian murderer and the
girl with killer in her first name.
Yeah, the killer sex addict. So I just expected somebody to bleed or like pass out. You know what I'm saying? I didn't expect it to be like a pin type shit. Okay. Cool with Kelly taking the L because she doesn't really need the dubs. You know, she just it's the thrill that gets her off.
Yeah, she's kind of Callahan-ish when it comes to titles, and too. I don't think she. Of course, I want her to win them, but she's on her own. Is just she don't need it. It's a toy. Mm-hmm. You know. But yeah, I'm with you, man. I get you there because good match. But when you're talking dog collar, I'm with you. We had, especially when we had Maclin bleeding like a fountain last show, and then you talk about the history of that. You talk about Abyss and Raven and those blood feuds. So I get where you're coming from, but regardless, I think it did what it needed to do to, I think, get them in a tandem. But we'll see. What do you guys think about that? I see you guys pretty much going along thinking 4 tandems. Okay, cool. Yeah,
let us know. And Killer Kelly like the Road Warriors?
What's that? Oh, like the road. Give them the spikes and just let them go out and clothesline people all to hell. But when I'm watching them kick each other in the head back and forth during that match, respecting them too because it was physical. But when they're kicking each other back in the head, I was like, man, they'd be good together. They would be cool. So, hopefully we'll see it. But next up is something that changes the course of Slammiversary as well. It's Chris Sabin becoming, I'll spare you, but a 9x9x9, champion. He defeats Trey Miguel after a plethora of dope throwback moves, including the Styles Clash. But he beats Trey, and this Trey reign will go down in history as one of the best. I will say that. Doesn't matter statistics, but just as far as what it brought to the title and character and development and how much it elevated Trey while he elevated it. Respect. I love this reign. but I think we could talk about where he's going next. We'll see. But when this match happened and this outcome happened, I knew Shelley was winning, man. It's at home.
If for anybody that watches the Power Ranking show, I basically said one half of the Motor City Machine Guns was walking out with some gold.
At least one.
And I just said at least one, and I had SABIN in mind.
Yeah. It just doesn't hurt Trey at all, man. And if you need to take it off Trey to get him to something else, or just that next elevation of whatever he's going, Chris Sabin's not a bad place to be. I think it plays hand in hand with what Alex winning later, which we'll talk about extensively. But cool history here, great match, great moment, and Chris Sabin, 9-time champion. 9-time. Crazy, man. On the match itself, where did this, I won't say rank on your thing, but love it. How'd you feel about it?
If I could marry a wrestling match, it would be this one.
It does feel like peak X Division, man, or peak Cruiserweight. Like it's two well-developed characters that are both insanely good in the ring, having some story behind their match. It's beautiful.
And what's got me more hype is, did you see the promo Sabin cut after on Twitter? He's pretty much saying, this reign here, I'm about to show y'all some new shit.
Okay.
Like, Sabin's like, he was like, I'm pretty much going to show y'all, like, because me and Shelley, Treehouse, we've been the bar for professional wrestling for the last X amount of years, and we about to do that again on this level. So
I'm for it.
All of it.
Because I think to get Trey out of that picture, you need Sabin to have a definitive run. Like it can't just be, Trey's back in it and lingering around. You needed someone to take it off him that can go somewhere else with it. If that's the case, we don't know. We'll talk about that. But yeah, man, it goes down in history, man. Trey is. I can't wait to see what the next step for him is. I have a hope, I have a wish, maybe a Slammiversary wish, but we'll talk about that. Either way, a great match.
Just hope, real quick, on Sabin, there's just one thing I hope for in the future.
Okay.
It's a new theme song.
Thank you.
Something not this. Something that at least throw Hail Sabin in that mug. Something. You know what I'm saying?
I saw the alien in the Tron itself, and I was like, oh, that's cool. At least they got the throwback there, but Hail Sabin remix would be nice. But two, it is so funny you say that, because I looked at my cousin when it started to play, and I don't know why it finally hit me. I said, is that the Immortal theme song? Check the riff. But yeah, very, very, I don't know. But yeah, I'm with you. Let's get the man something. Alex Shelley has Motor City, and that's all he needs, man. He's chasing dreams now. He's chasing memories, right? Okay. But next up is the first time ever 841. I like the concept. I know people are gonna say what they say, but a very simple format. It's an 8-man tag. The guys who win make it a fatal 4-way. Winner's number 1 contender. Simple. And I liked how it was booked, I'm going to be honest, man. I think we all kind of saw Aldis winning this. Maybe not. But to have Gresham pick up the win for the team keeps Gresham on a winning streak, which I like. And then, who was it? Aldis picking the victory, the final victory, number 1 contender victory over Heath. So no harm, no foul there. Any way you cut it. A fun match. A lot to kind of, to handle from a camera point of view. But as far as the match itself, what did you think about it? Did you like the concept originally, and then the outcome of what we saw?
I've always I wish we could do this type of match on 2K. And I've had this wish for years, like something like this, like a 2-part match. Because you want to think about doing new stuff in wrestling, there's not too much more you can do. And as far as creativity wise, we've reached the peak with Ultimate X. Like that.
Yeah.
We've reached the creative peak with Ultimate X and the complication peak with King of the Mountain.
Yeah.
There's no topping that, so you might as well just like
and
do
eventually
funky shit.
if you do too much, you're gonna create a reverse battle royal, right? So
I just want another triple threat revolver.
I'm down. I mean, this, it feels like they used these at the right time. We knew that we needed a challenger for Slammiversary. We'll talk about this more, but it just felt like a smart concept to kind of showcase who you got or who you can picture being in the title contention. And then you make something interesting in basically a one-night tournament. So, yeah, I love it.
Question, though.
Yeah.
Would you agree that those were the top 8 world title contenders?
No.
Okay.
No, but the other ones were opening the show, doing some other things, it's
also valid,
but no, I'm with you. But either way, we do get, and I have to mention that, I see you guys mentioned as well, President Scott, he recovered for his 2 weeks. He's back. Oh my God. Scott D'Amour's back. If you're okay with it, because I talked to you right after the show, let's not mention why I think this is important for anything else. Let's just stick to this match here in real time. He comes out, he confronts Bully. Essentially, you could make the argument that he cost Bully the chance to be number 1 contender here. But this is something you've been playing around with for quite a bit. I know we talked about it on here. And I think we're finally going to get it at Slammiversary. Scott versus Bully, blood feud, some tables, something kind of matchup, right?
Initially, I was on board with a one-on-one, but I feel like there's gonna be a tag type scenario pending people's status, maybe. And if that maybe doesn't happen, if we do get the one-on-one come Slammiversary, that tag is still.
Yeah. Oh, Dottle is there. What's up, Dottle? What's up, chat, man? You guys are lighting up. I appreciate you guys. We'll make sure to hit back and forth as we navigate through the treehouse. But let's stick to this really quick. I'll talk about it at the Slammiversary part. Or actually, we'll talk about it during probably the Alex Shelley, Steve Maclin part. But I thought the outcome made sense here. I thought the match was cool. And besides for the shock of Scott returning after 2 weeks, I enjoyed the story being told throughout this, because looking at the fallout as well, and maybe that kind of gave you some hints to who was going to be eliminated first. You had Moose versus Swan in the fallouts. You had some matches that this is also going to create, so I thought it was all around a good job. But Aldis picks up the win. He's the number 1 contender at Slammiversary. Well, more on that later. Speaking of Slammiversary, Deonna and Trinity, who will be opponents then, team up here against and defeat Gisele and Savannah with Jay Vidal after a Mahastrala cradle. Look, we talked about this match. I just think the chemistry per se wasn't there for it. Is that fair?
Yeah, it was a fine match for storyline purposes.
Yeah, that's how we'll put it. Look,
it's a fine pit stop to where we're going.
Yes. There you go. I just think maybe the chemistry is not there between all parties in that ring. But either way, the story was told. There was obviously some kind of shenanigans with that finish. But we got to see the Trinity and Deonna win. We continued that. And we got to see Deonna dance, which, sorry, Maclin, but good times, right? Let's let her break out of character a little bit.
She's just a work of art, man.
Work of art.
Everything she does is art.
Nicely put. Nicely put. Save us there. But yeah, we get them later. We'll talk about them when we talk about Slammiversary. But as far as a match, it needed to be done. It was done. Now we could go our separate ways and build between Deonna and Trinity. Is that as friends? Is it foe? We'll see. But they look like friends right now. A lot of time in between. Next up is something that an Ohio street fight. Very familiar with Kentucky street fight, but Ohio street fight, a little different, I guess. OVE.
The crowds are the same regardless of Ohio, Kentucky, and that's all I'm gonna say.
Fair enough. The crowd was interesting, man. They're very behind Ohio people.
Oh yeah, for sure, and dope.
Yeah, but not much else. Not much else. But OVE here, defeating the Design in a just, another example why I love Impact shows. It's literally a buffet or smorgasbord of a little bit of everything. If you like high flying, you get that. You want veterans that you know from the past, you get that. You get crazy knockouts matches. And in here, just like last Under Siege, you're getting another hardcore brawl. And this one didn't disappoint, man. It went everywhere. It was damn entertaining. We got the cutter from Jake, which was on Angels, was it, right? Across the ring. I thought it was a damn fun match. A nice momentum builder for the main event. Get them set up, get them excited. And I didn't realize how much I missed OVE. I'm going to be real. I don't know if it's because of the nostalgia of when they came in. They came in and Don and Scott came in, and there was some hope, and there was some cool things. There was them, Lucha Brothers.
The first good idea, the first good idea from them, was right when they came in.
Yep. And I don't know if we're gonna lose people, but I always say this: there's a great crutch, I guess we could call it that. And I hate calling it that, but guerrilla warfare works. You build back groups, you build IP, you have these people go at each other, and you can build off storylines there. I think OVE being around for the long haul isn't a bad thing.
Lethal Lockdown.
Hey, you remember we talked about that? We booked, it was a cliffhanger. We talked about all these different things that could be as far as the groups and how we would book these groups. And I'm happy to have OVE back, man. I don't know if it's permanent, but I can see, man, there's so many people that can come to play in this too. What about Jake something? There's some people that can... He's got a lot of history with both sides. I don't know. The one thing I will say, and I like where Angels is getting, man. I think he's getting, for what I see now, he's smooth in the ring. I think if he wasn't in the body he's in, if he was just, he would be a star. He's just short. He's just a little short, which I have no problem with.
Perfect.
Yeah, I have no problem with whatsoever. I'm just saying if this dude was just stretched a little bit, he would be, he's good in the ring.
Throw his ass in the X division. He'll be fine.
Right. But when he went to the ladder and he was only 4 feet up and he's like, I'm loco. I was like, bro, come on.
And did a basic, he did Frog Splash too.
Yeah. It's a good Frog Splash, but it was just.
That's why it was number 2. It wasn't real basic. It was the one where there's a little more juice into it.
Oomph on it.
Yeah.
Fair enough, man. But cool to see Fulton back, man. Love the interaction with him and Khan. This match in general, just exactly what you thought it would be.
Yeah. My only gripe I had with it was during the spot where Jake caught Angels with the cutter. Okay. I was just mad that the camera caught Jake the whole time. We weren't just focusing in on Angels, and then Jake just comes out of nowhere. You know what I'm saying? That's my only.
I'm gonna throw something else at you. I'm okay with it because from the angle they caught it from, one, look, if he came out of nowhere, yeah, it would have been okay. I get it, but you have to hit that just right in camera. But the camera angle they got it from, you can see Jake's body turn Angels in midair, and I thought that was really cool. It had that nudge, and I was like, oh, whoa, it turned trajectory. That's pretty cool.
And I guess there was a little bit of dramatic irony within the shot, too, because it's we saw Jake lining up to catch Angels, right. But Angels had tunnel vision and didn't see, you know what I'm saying? So I guess that's fine.
It's for us to be like, you idiot, don't do it, you idiot, he's going to get you. It's one of those moments, right?
Your ass.
We knew it. The heels.
That's what you get.
Yeah, right? But yeah, good stuff. I hope this feud continues, and I wouldn't be surprised if it did at Slammiversary. But let's get into the moneymaker here. Let's talk about the world title. I want your opinion first, and then I know you have a question for me in general. And I'll try to best explain the how I, from a writer's standpoint, why it happened the way it did. But Alex Shelley defeats Stephen Maclin for the world title in the main event against All Odds. He said he was the better wrestler and he was going to prove it. There's no harm and no foul in saying that because, look, who's going to punch you harder in the face? Maclin. Who's going to be tougher? Maclin. But who's a ring general? Who's got that presence? Who's been doing it for years? Shelley. And that's what I thought this was good. I will say this before we get into the why, but I will say part of the why is Maclin's a made man. These, they fed him these matches. Sure, the reign could have been longer, but we'll get into that. But he looks the part, he walks the part, he talks the part. He's a pillar. Him and Josh, they're pillars. To lose it in the way he did felt, and I think you'll appreciate this, where it was one of those things where you can say when Aries beat Bobby Roode, and we all wanted Roode to continue being the longest reign and keep doing his thing, but out of the blue came this energy of just Austin Aries, and he had to win. He cashed it in, he won, and no one cared. It didn't make sense. It had nothing to do with storylines with him and Roode. It just happened. And I think that's why one of the reasons I'm okay with this as well is because you're like, oh, Maclin, wait, okay, let me think about this. But it's Shelley. It had to happen at some point. And it's when you look at where we were and how bummed we were with what happened with Josh's injury, this felt something like a guy gave us a shot in the arm for Slammiversary. We'll talk about Al Gilmore depth, but I want to know your initial reaction on the match, what you thought when the title change happened, even though I think I know, and we'll go from there.
And okay, the match was freaking ridiculous. Like Maclin, that's why I was expecting Maclin to get the dub, and then the fact that match was so crazy, like that would have been the here. Yeah. Now, I was getting a little bummed, though, because it's like, damn, well, this is the second time Shelley's had this world title match before/after Slammiversary, and he takes the L. Like, I was kind of starting to be like, damn, so Shelley's never going to get this mother? And then he did. I was like, oh, shit.
Yep.
Lost my mind. I was hyped for, like, 10 hours, and then like the next morning I'm at work and I'm like, but wait, why did he win the belt?
Right.
And had that internal war with myself. And then remember, I'm in the camp that believes that had Josh not got hurt, he wouldn't have lost the belt at Rebellion anyway. So had things gone according to plan, we wouldn't have been with Maclin with the world title, at least not yet. So, they had to cut and paste some shit, move the timeline around because of Josh's injury so we can circle back later. It makes sense, though, with it being Shelley, because Shelley's a good one for Josh to come back and get heat on if you want to, get on some Team Canada biz.
I think that's fair.
Or someone else can come through and take the belt off of him. I want Bound for Glory, Motor City Machine Guns collide with SABIN cashing in
all the way and keeping it. Hey,
I want it.
I don't know the answer of what's going to happen. I obviously don't. But that is something that I would enjoy as well. Okay. Now to answer I'm going to answer this as if I'm looking at it from a writing perspective. Now, the only part we're going to differ on, we might differ on the why, what all that stuff. But as far as the starting point, you don't think Maclin was supposed to win at Rebellion. You think he was supposed to win at, Slammiversary?
Bound for Glory.
Oh, wait, all the way then.
Yeah.
So Josh stays face, and all the way then.
Josh would have, by now, Josh would be heel.
Okay. So Team Canada would have happened at some point. He eventually would turn heel, and then Maclin would eventually be anti-hero Maclin.
Team Canada would have happened at Slammiversary.
Okay.
He's already heel at this point, but he's dolo by himself.
So I'm gonna try this from a different standpoint and what ifs. Not saying this is what really happens. I don't know anyone. Okay. Thinking it from a writing perspective, just for the sake of argument, I'm gonna say Maclin was already penciled in to win at Rebellion. And then eventually would lose it maybe at Slammiversary, something of that nature. Either way, your two pillars that you're trying to build, you just spent a year building Josh Alexander. Your next get is your next pillar. You're building Maclin this year. So either way, those are your two guys at Rebellion, and most likely Slammiversary. One way or another, whoever's champion or not. Okay. So when you write the long-term story, it's linear. There could be ups, there's spikes, there's downs, there's things that can change and happen, but you always stay on the timeline to get to where we are. And if the timeline's always Steve and Josh, let's keep that in mind. Okay? I already said it. Maclin looked like a made man. When they started feeding him victories on TV in defenses, I said, oh shit, this guy's losing his belt sooner rather than later. And there's a few reasons that could have happened. One, you already had Maclin in mind to win it. You don't want to take that away from him, because say he does lose to Kushida, then Maclin not only is the guy who didn't win it, he's the guy who couldn't win it when Josh was not even there. So he already is not Josh's equal. So you need to elevate him, and now when Josh does return, he can say, yeah, you won it when I wasn't there, dude. That doesn't even matter, and then you lost it. So it doesn't hurt Maclin. He's already proved his point. This match even helped even further elevate him. We'll talk about where I think he could go. But if Josh, we'll keep that in mind. Let's start with step one. Josh leaves. They need to bring in some main event talent, or what could be in the main event at Slammiversary, because they have no clue if Josh is going to be ready. You bring in Aldis. You bring in Aldis and you say, maybe Aldis says, hey, but I want to be the main event Slammiversary, title win or not, right? So it might be a short reign for Shelley. We don't know. But at the very least, you always have Maclin and Aldis lined up. And then you say at some point, though, you go, I don't know if you could see it, but like a U is what I'm saying. You got to go around to get Steve back to Josh. And that meant he needed to drop the title. Especially if you think Maclin is going to be the one dropping it at Aldis. You don't want that. Your homegrown guy losing against Aldis because you already made a deal where he's going to win the title. Not saying that's a deal, but for all intents and purposes. And would that be a banger? I don't know. Does it have history? Not yet. So you're forcing history in a month. Or you take someone who was in Motor City, you take someone who was in British Invasion, you put them in the main event of TNA Impact Slammiversary. It writes itself. You can play around with that. It gives Alex Shelley his rub. If he's the one that drops it, he drops it, whatever. But when you look at that and you want to get Steve back to Josh, and that's where I try to tell you, don't talk about Scott too much more. I think the perfect way to get around that was you make him lose the belt. You make him and Bully have a feud he joins that feud with Bully, and we get Bully and Maclin versus Josh and Scott, the returning Josh and Scott at Slammiversary. I think that's just the way they had to go to get around it and get the two stars that they want to carry this company back on the same alignment because of this unfortunate accident, man.
So, tinfoil hat on. Do you think us going this route means that Josh is coming back sooner than later? Because I feel like if Josh would have been out for a while, at least to me, it would have been you might as well have Steve hold it till Josh get back, and then we have, the get back, but from the opposite direction. And well, that's the thing,
is if you're bringing Josh back after this injury, especially if they bring it Team Canada way, or even if they don't do that, he's got to be a face. He could return heel, but if he's coming back and he's fighting Maclin, who has been a pretty shitty dude for the past month, years, whatever, it's going to be hard to build some kind of sympathy for Maclin this quickly. So I think you don't want to jeopardize Maclin could lose to Josh and it wouldn't hurt, but Josh winning it right away, for lack of better terms, you're busting your nut pretty quick. Josh, you know what I mean? In comparison, you could get him started with this, make sure Josh is good and healthy, and then find a way easily for Josh and Maclin to get back in that world title picture. If that's Josh Maclin Aldis, if that's Josh Maclin Shelley, I don't know. But I think it killed a lot of birds with one stone. And at the same time, not only the lineage in the history between Motor City, and the history with TNA, and then British Invasion with TNA, they got that written in, which gives us something to get excited about for Slammiversary. I think, I don't know. I think I'm going to lose it. That's what I think. No, I haven't. I just don't know. I don't know. If you have something, and I'll try to get back on my train of thought.
I mean, I ain't really got too much because, at the end of the day, it's not like I'm sitting here being mad that
Right,
Alex
right.
Shelley is the world champ. Like,
Thank you. That was it. This gave us something, man. Because look, you could easily, that was what it was. You could easily go Maclin beat Rhino, Maclin beat PCO, Maclin beat, I forgot there was another one. Say he beats Shelley, then he beats someone in the meantime, and then at Slammiversary he loses it. That's just kind of, we know what the gist is. We all think Aldis is going to win or not. Then you're just stringing along Maclin when you can bring him, pull the Band-Aid off, give it to someone who's going to give us a shot in the arm in Alex Shelley. And then,
I mean, shit, I was penciling, you know, when I knew that Aldis was winning this 841, and I just assumed Maclin was winning the world titles. I even penciled Maclin over Aldis Slammiversary, like. On some,
beating Aldis
yeah,
as well?
at least that's at least that Slammiversary on some bullshit, on some heel shit.
Right. I actually think. Oh, go. Sorry.
No, I was just saying. Then they run it back either at a later day, or you know what I'm saying. And then
See, I think Josh will be healthy by then, so I don't think unless they're giving Aldis the title. Let's actually give our grade for Against All Odds, and then let's get right into Slammiversary, because I think that's where we're headed anyways. For this, I gave it a good B. It was a good B show.
Just solid, smooth B.
Solid, smooth B. Some things that really pushed it up there, and then some things that were. It's a good show.
It wasn't bad.
No.
It just wasn't like.
It wasn't under siege.
But it was good.
I agree with you. So Impact continuously putting out good stuff, and I think we're heading into some better stuff. Do you want to do our wish list first, or do you want to do our do you want to do the booking of Slammiversary first?
Let's do the wish list first, so then we can, get fantasy and then get real. But before that, is the best way to put Against All Odds versus Under Siege. Against All Odds was the original movie. No, I'm saying Under Siege was the original movie.
Yeah.
And Against All Odds was the remake.
Fair.
A decent remake, like Carrie.
Oh, okay. Not like Point Break or something. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, like a remake that was like that's it's not bad. It's not a bad remake.
Neither of them are ready to rumble though. Classic.
That's facts.
All right, so let's talk about our Slammiversary wish list here. Why don't you lay one on me? We'll go back and forth.
All right. I feel like we're gonna get some sort of big knockout return debut appearance. Okay. Specifically knockout.
Okay. All right. I'll keep it light to something we've been talking about, but this is definitely wish list. If it's Scott and Josh, it's got to be Team Canada of some kind. They don't have to go full force yet. We got to build the crew, but they got to at least have the gimmick.
Come out with the entrance.
Yeah, the zip up or something, the flag. They could bring Showtime back, acting like nothing happened. I'll be happy. So that's my one. Your second one.
Let's see. What was it? Oh yeah, Rascals, ABC.
That's fair. I have that on the actual booking because I actually think that's what happens. I think that's the only way you can take Trey out of something and obviously give it to SABIN, but you take him out of it without harming, Trey, and it just does something even cooler. My second one is I want to return, and I have low key written down because I think SABIN's gonna throw it back to some people in this X Division title reign. But my biggest wish would be EC3, old music, shaved face, acting like nothing happened at all, everyone waving. It would be the greatest day of my life.
That would be so beautiful.
Yeah. Your third one.
I mean, shit is kind of a layup at this point because we just kind of went on about it as far as in the future is Josh makes some sort of an appearance. I wasn't even thinking necessarily a physical one, like, as far as a match. I expected him to show up like at the end of something, like at the end of Bully versus Scott.
Okay. That works.
Either at the end or come to save Scott. You know what I'm saying? So then you can run the tag match back, and then you have that little beef with Josh and Steve that still is kind of unsettled. and then we can get back into the world title.
Okay, yours is more reasonable. Yours is more logical here. Because my third one is very simple. It's one word: tunnels. Just give us back our tunnels. I want our tunnels for Slammiversary.
Well, you say that, but my meaning of Knockout's return / debut, both names I had in mind were very
tunnely.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I know what you mean. I like coming through the tunnel like you would see that back in the day.
It would like as far as the tunnels, being unrealistic.
Okay. So it's out there.
The two names that I specifically have for, that would make either a return or a debut are both unrealistic.
I'm going to go Tessa and Santina. So that's what I'm going to go. Santina.
You're 50% right.
Yeah, okay, I figured. Santina's
Tessa.
right.
It's Santina.
Who's the second?
Monet.
Oh, yeah, the injury.
She still could make an appearance.
I think hey, man, I don't think it's out of the realm of reality. Let's actually talk about
what she did at Wrestle Kingdom, but without the move. Not necessarily the box, but just like the move altogether. Like, say Trinity wins, and she's celebrating. Everybody's all hype, and then
she comes,
and everyone's like, "Oh shit!" And then everything's all sisterly.
My percentage has been at like 86 for 7 months, so she needs to come through at some point. But here's where I think that story, that timeline changes a little bit, because I don't think Josh and Steve need it per se at the moment, and I agree with, I see Millard saying in there that they should wait to Bound for Glory before the turn. He said long-term storytelling would be a world title be vacant at Bound for Glory, always about a tournament, and then Josh wins, turning heel, and finally forms Team Canada, and then we next loop. We would do the anti-hero. I'm down for that. As long as we get it, I'm patient. We'll see. But I do want to talk about
Bound for Glory series.
Oh, yes. Let's bring it back. If they're already doing 841 and thinking outside the box, let's bring back the Bound for Glory series. Let's talk about what I think the possibility is, because we only have 2 matches locked in that we know are definite, or so we think. Alex Shelley is the champion. He's facing Nick Aldis. Great throwback there. And then Deonna versus Trinity. I know you said that you think Deonna and Trinity main events. I think that's a possibility for sure. Shelley and Aldis, just for the name value and what Slammiversary represents, I could care either way. But that would be really cool. I think either way, I originally had Aldis winning this. And the reason I think so is because I don't know which one happens first, but I can see Mickey coming back and turning on Trinity, or costing her the title, and Aldis and her running as world champs, or in the picture, or a heel team together. Doesn't mean, I don't know. Could not. They could always be separate. But interesting that she never lost the title. She could be mad that maybe she's not going to respect. Who knows? They can figure it out. But Aldis being in the main event and her being, an important part of the Knockouts division just kind of makes a bit of sense. Thoughts? Mickey coming back yet?
See, I'm down for like Mickey coming back and there being a Nikki and Mickey alliance, but that would have made even more sense with Maclin still being world champ at this point. So Maclin Aldis Slammiversary could at least serve as like act 1 of the situation.
Meaning like he only lost it because of the turn or something.
No, I mean, like, we get Maclin Aldis at Slammiversary, and whatever happens. Okay. Doesn't really matter who wins coming out of there, but at least that would have been a Slammiversary. And then what would be next? Like, Emergence?
I'm always
Victory Road?
Victory Road, September.
So probably Emergence?
Something in between, yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah, so then that you would have, by then, Mickey would have been back. Deonna could be whatever, and then we could have that tag match at Emergence.
That's fair. Yeah, I don't know the timeline of it. I'm just thinking that storyline wise, if I'm not saying they promised Aldis a championship, who knows? But if that's where at least he's going to be in the picture, unless he's gone after this, I could just see them wanting to work together, have a little run. They had a little taste here, but you never know. I don't know.
And if that were to happen,
yeah,
this pay-per-view that we're talking about should not be Emergence. It should be Homecoming, and we can do this damn mixed tag tournament again.
Oh, that was a good time, man. Ray Walt's debut.
Mickey, Deonna, Maclin, flipping.
Well, not Jordan and Josh and Jonathan.
Who know? Maybe.
Well, that's true. That's fair. You never know, right?
Who know? Maybe.
But let's get to booking Slammiversary because all we have is the 2 world titles. Let's go into X Division next. Obviously, Sabin's going to keep most likely rocking it. I don't see why we wouldn't have Ultimate X.
Honestly, save it.
Okay. I'm just saying with it being Slammiversary.
And I feel you, but I think I saw Garrett tweeted the other day talking about Sabin, Motor City Machine Guns history and all that stuff. The 20-year anniversary or something like that of Ultimate X is August 20th.
Okay. Which
is Multiverse United 2.
Oh, Tanahashi, we didn't mention that. Announced his number being a part of.
So I'm on the type of beat to where you save Ultimate X for that history and then have Sabin win it at that match.
So what's Sabin? Who's he facing at Slammiversary? I think it's a damn good match. I'm not going to argue that. I'm just going to write that.
Or Gresham and Gresham Speedball Sabin.
Oh, yeah. I think it's multi-man. That's the only reason I say Ultimate X, but that would be great. Sabin, Gresham, Speedball would be dope. All right, so let's pencil that in. This is just, once again, we don't have any clue. Tag titles, yeah. I'm just going to go with you because for the men's, ABC versus the Rascals, Filthy Rascals, if you will.
Trey and Wentz
would be dope. Hope Myron's there too, but
I'll be fine with Myron and Trey. I'll be fine with that too.
Yep. And then for Knockouts tag, I went with that the four Knockouts tag match, corner tag match. I was thinking the Coven versus Gisele and Savannah versus Death Dolls versus Masha and Killer Kelly. You get all the knockouts out there. They have some.
I'm trying to figure if we could squeeze. If there was one more, we could be able to squeeze in. I don't think so.
There's not another post. They'd have to sit in the ring apron.
Because like I said earlier, I want that pre-show tag team.
Oh, right.
Queen of the Mountains.
That's right.
Well, given it's a tag match, that actually might be able to work with just 4 teams because there's already so much fucking carnage and craziness that's going to be happening.
True Millard in there saying the Hex. That'd be cool to bring them back. I don't know. We'll leave it open.
I mean, sure.
We know there's bias. I understand. Next is the DMC. I would imagine Hendry still has it. But I don't know.
Hendry versus Kenny.
I like that. He's played around with. He faced Sheldon a lot, right? But never faced Kenny, or did he face Kenny?
He didn't face Kenny. He only faced what's his tits?
Sheldon.
Sheldon, yeah.
I thought they faced each other. All right. Either way.
Around the time, when did Sheldon and Joe fight? Last week, right?
Again, the one he broke his nose, and then this one, yeah.
Yeah, that one was like right after Rebellion.
Okay. All right, so that's a possibility. So that leaves 4 matchups if we're going to do 10. I think it's going to be the Edwards versus
the Kazarians.
Kazarians
Asterisks.
Right, because we don't know, but I think that's a possibility.
I'm going to go ahead and call the asterisks, and I'm going to say that's going to be Jody Threat. It's going to be Frankie and Jody Threat versus Eddie and Lish.
It's a good possibility, but I'm going to put my money on Tracy coming back. I think there's got to be at least one throwback. I hope Low-Key would be great. Someone of that nature that can, Amazing Red, someone that could go with SABIN, that would be dope. But I do like the Gresham-Bailey match as well, so I'm up in the air. Either way, Edwards versus Kazarian in some facets going to continue. That leaves us with 3 matches. Who else do you have to get on that card there? Moose, if he's still around. If he's still around. Design versus OVE?
Yeah, I was gonna get into that because there's Rich who had the OVE hat. So I'm like, right. Okay, so is Rich claiming OVE? Is Rich in OVE, but seeing that he's from Maryland, it's now MOVE. It's Move.
Move. Either way, it's gonna be pretty dope. I think that makes sense. Because Rich doesn't have, especially he picked up the loss against Gresham on the 841. I don't think he has any clear. It's like them saying he's not in contention right now, so he's got to go somewhere. Could he go DMC? That's possible as well, but it makes sense. He
got Twitter.
He was former champion for a little bit, but I think OVE grows as well, and I think by that the design has to grow as well, which will be interesting because then it'd be a 4-on unless Madman or Jake isn't back, but I think they would run it back, right?
I was looking at that Joe Hendry graphic. You need to. I don't think you have the new jam up there.
No, that was the one Io made with
Edge's bitch. We need Diva's Reject, the new jam.
Yeah, we got to get one. All right, that leaves 2 matches or 2 spaces available. Once again, we have Shelley versus Aldis, Deonna Trinity, SABIN versus Gresham and Bailey, maybe. ABC versus Rascals, maybe. Coven, Shaw, and Gisele and Savannah. Death Dolls, Masha
Knockouts
and
Tag Showcase.
Knockouts Tag. DMC, Hendry and Kenny, maybe. Edwards and Kazarians-ish, maybe. And Design versus OVE. That leaves 2 left. And I don't know the roster off the top of my head. But, I don't have it in front of me to see who we're missing here. Moose, obviously. I see Swinger gets his first win by beating Hendry for the DMC. It's possible. You got Dango.
I'm thinking there's going to be some sort of... I'm torn between there being like an X Division showcase match or a tag showcase match. Or maybe those are the 2 spots. You get an X Division showcase and a tag showcase. That's true.
Because you got Yuya.
Yeah,
you got Good Hands. You probably want to show. You got Raj and Shira.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, there are
maybe you can bring Subculture. Maybe you can get Subculture back in.
That would be dope.
Or another tag team, Bad Dude Tito and motherfucking Shane Hayes.
I will. Yeah, there's definitely opportunity there and to go around. Oh wait, we didn't write Scott versus Bully.
Oh, doy.
Scott and I'm gonna say Scott and Maclin, or Scott and Josh versus Bully and Maclin. Maybe not. And that leaves one more. Why don't we leave it at that? Let them decide if they have anything. Leave it in the comments. Let us guys know. You guys have been having great comments. I will get back to all of them as soon as I can. I just this week has been hell, but Against All Odds was wonderful. No Under Siege, but wonderful nonetheless. Cool to see Shelley. And some really great moments that turned Slammiversary and what could be on its head, man. We got a lot of different things that could happen now. Anything you want to... Oh, yeah.
We just live in a world where both Motor City Machine Guns have the World and X Division title. And if you're a TNA cat like you and me, you're just in love right now. Like you're probably the happiest you've ever been, like off that part alone.
It's a moment, man. You know, obviously we want Maclin to have his run. And like I said, if he wasn't already felt like he hit his step, but obviously even in the promo he said it's a shit situation. Look, it was a shit situation that I think we're getting the best of here now, man, because now you, like you said, that's a moment. That's you both guys winning it, both guys holding it. That will be used as a clip for the next whatever amount of years, man. because that's a team that's been here for a good amount of this company's history.
Like, imagine FTR. One of FTR hair wins the Ring of Honor world title, and FTR bald wins the AEW world title, or something like that, or like the TBS or something, and they're just there with both belts,
but
just being clicked up. Like that's
but 20 years later,
tag team. Exactly.
And that's the crazy part is we're running from a time, and I said that before, where we didn't even know if we'll ever see any wink to TNA ever again. They'll use the library, but they weren't pushing it. They weren't using the IP. We weren't using pay-per-views. We weren't using any of the stuff that really is the moneymaker. And now we're saying we got Aldis and Shelley in the main event of our pay-per-view that is our anniversary show. So it's big turnaround, man. Just now got to pull that Band-Aid, start repping the TNA. We'll get it.
Hey, Multiverse. Okay. Multiverse United 2. Main event. Nick Aldis versus Okada for the world title.
That's the one he said he wanted too. And it was a wish list, but that's what he said he'd want. Look, man, history there too with the company.
Exactly.
More than happy. I'd be more than happy for that to be. But that's another thing we can fantasy book. What a good time that's going to be. Look forward to that. Episode 1000 coming up. Victory Road. I'll be there for that. Max as well. So hit us up. We're going to have a good time for those two shows. Emergence before. So there's a lot of good stuff coming up. Slammiversary we have to get to first, which seems like
I'll be at the Atlanta tapings, which is probably the last stop before Bound for Glory, I think. I don't know if there's a taping spot in between then, so
the road
that should be fun. Glory. Yeah.
Either way, man, we're in a good time with some exciting stuff happening, and if you followed my crazy the mind of a maniac speech earlier of trying to explain why I think it happened the way it did, I think they made the best out of a situation. And we're talking about it in a positive way instead of just, it's just going to be Maclin. Not that Maclin versus Aldis is a bad thing, but just we all knew it was coming kind of thing, Like, at least this is something. We're talking about it where people are stoked. And there's a lot of people giving Shelley his flowers, which is awesome, man. But if you want to give us our flowers, I don't know. Make sure to hit like, subscribe, all of that. And then check out Go Power Rankings Tuesday here with Dodgela, Burt, and Lucha. And then 2K, hey, perfect timing. TNA 2K on here, coming back with the Knockouts tournament. Anything you want to say on the way out, Lucha?
If y'all want to give us some flowers, just make sure they're the types that are best used when flammable. Also, if y'all want to see an angry Burt, please watch Go Power Rankings this Tuesday, because that man is going through it right now based off of Against All Odds. So he's going to be shooting from the hip.
Well, guys, hopefully he's all right, because I hope he listens to the show and sees some reason, because there's no need for it. There's no need to be down. We're in a good place. Everything can't just continue to be the longest reigning champion of all. We got to have something different. And I thought this helped. But check them out on Tuesdays. See that. Check, I don't know about Wednesdays, but we'll start doing the polls soon for the Knockouts thing. Friday, I'll keep them on Sunday. Sunday, I'll be back for Reaction. And if you guys really want to help me out, I have another channel. It's just for portfolio building, but I want to thank you because I wouldn't have never done it if it wasn't for you guys. It's at The Great Reclaim. Hit subscribe, hit play, or don't. But as long as you guys support it in some way, you could see it on my Twitter. I sometimes repost the things. That's how ahead of the game I am. Check it out and let me know. Some reaction things on there, mixtapes. Had an ECW one that messed up. But have a trivia for Batman coming out. I have Murder Mystery coming out. Just trying to do a little bit of everything. But thank you guys. I appreciate you. Appreciate you, Lucha. Great time as always. Millard, thank you, my friend, for being here. Datula. Who else was in there? Io was in there.
Dobby the Brain
Heenan, what a name. And I know I'm missing some. But thank you guys. You all. Thank you guys. I appreciate you. Thank you for coming out. God bless and good night. Goodbye, everybody. Bye.
Chris Sabin wink.
We love you guys.